Cardinal Cowboy here. Renner Garage Door has you covered. Renner's been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. RennerDoorSTL.com.
RENNER, RENNER.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Great to be along with you with Chris Ranji, Bernie Miklas. I'm Tom Ackerman. It is November 18th. We are a week and a day away from Thanksgiving, and things will start to heat up on the trade market, on the free agent market in baseball. In fact, Naylor is back with the Seattle Mariners. Boy, Naylor's good. That game, that whole series back in September, Bernie, when Naylor had a 2-run double against the Cardinals, he had a bomb that might still be traveling. That guy's a player. I think he played in like 54 games, hit a ton of home runs, stole a ton of bases, had a great postseason. Exactly the type of player that the Cardinals are hoping to either acquire or develop.
Yeah, Naylor was a glue guy in Cleveland. I mean, really, really essential to that team, you know, even in a way that transcends what the statistics were. And the statistics were good. And he was perfect for what Seattle needed. And he gave that team a boost. And he energized that team. Not that it needed it, but he really just gave them a little extra fuel. And what an interesting player, and what a very good player he is. So that was really smart of Seattle to lock him in before he could sign somewhere else.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how this all goes down, guys, because that's a 5-year deal, if I recall, without my notes in front of me. But I do think that you're going to see some 1-year deals. And one that kind of is interesting to me that I was reading about today was the market for Kyle Schwarber. I believe it was Jeff Passan, but I'm sure there are others who have chimed in on this, is that the Pirates are kind of looking at the possibility of adding Schwarber. The Reds are looking at the possibility of adding Schwarber. The usual suspects, the Mets, the Phillies, the Red Sox, I'm sure would love to have him back. There are a lot of teams, Burn, that are interested in that home run slugger from Indiana University, by the way, that I think has taken the world by storm. I mean, I don't know where he ends up, but that'll be fascinating.
You know, a team that could change the perception of, like, okay, they've made progress, they're more talented, they have Terry Francona, but are they really going to throw down and do something bold? That would be the Cincinnati Reds, and Kyle Schwarber is a Cincinnati native. I mean, can you imagine that left-handed power stroke in that ballpark? He might break Barry Bonds' single-season record. But he wants a lot of money. But if the Reds aren't going to step up now, because their offense wasn't that great last year, well, when the heck would they step up?
Well, this would be the time to do it. And that's why. So I usually am not concerned with the Pirates or the Reds. Now, obviously, Cincinnati had a better season than the Cardinals did. But for a long-term serious contender, once you get to the playoffs, I guess anything can happen, right? We have that conversation all the time, and that's how the Cardinals seem to have operated for a long time. And it was just get there, right? Just get to the postseason, see what happens. But they usually had some superstars on their team when they were doing that, guys like Albert Pujols, Adam Wainwright. The Reds are not the kind of organization, unless they've got given assurances to Terry Francona that they are going to be aggressive. I just don't ever feel like they're going to be. It doesn't, unless they prove me wrong, until they prove me wrong, my assumption will be to operate as if the Pirates and Reds can put together good young cores, but they'll never really truly be aggressive, which means if you're the Cardinals, there is still, even if those two teams are improved, there is still an opportunity for you to win the division every year. Even if the Cubs are good, even if the Brewers are good, that door is open for you. So I don't know. I don't worry much about the Reds. I just don't think they're going to be the kind of team that does everything that has to be done in order to win.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Until proven otherwise, right?
Yeah, prove me wrong.
Tom Ackerman, I will say this. There's been a lot of stories about, the Pirates are going to spend money this winter. Well, look at that. Watch out. I don't buy that for 1 minute. I'm not going to bore you with this, but I was reading kind of a chronology of the Pirates spending. They have said this stuff before.
Mhm.
They have even done it to a little extent, but in winters where they have spent more money than people expected. First of all, it's not enough money to really make a difference. And then number two, the very next season, they pull it back and they drop the payroll again. So I don't know why people are so naive to swallow that storyline, because there's just nothing to back it up.
The only thing is that the Pirates apparently were knocking on the Naylor door. Am I right about that? That they were considering. Let me see if I can find this. Passon wrote about it. I trust Jeff.
No, he's great.
He said the largest free agent contract the Pirates have ever handed out was more than a decade ago, 3 years and $39 million to Francisco Liriano. I think, didn't the Cardinals spend more than that on like Brett Cecil back then? Anyway.
I mean, they gave their own guy. They've given a couple of their own guys contracts, like Brian Hayes, which they dumped the contract on the Reds, but also Brian Reynolds. They have given their own guys some juice, but
they have
on the outside, no,
right.
They haven't.
He wrote, they are consistently a bottom 5 payroll team, and yet the Pirates were primed to spend more than twice that on Josh Naylor before he re-upped with Seattle for 5 years and $92.5 million. That's the first that I've seen. Maybe I'm wrong, but the first, at least, somebody with some cred saying that they were looking to spend a little money to kind of give Paul Skeens a little juice out there. I mean, so that's something, but I agree with you, Bernie. I mean, otherwise I ain't buying it. It's the Pittsburgh Pirates, man. I mean, they got to show me something out there.
It is easy to say that after the fact. Oh, we were going to give him twice that. Sure. Oh,
yeah.
were you? Okay.
Right. And, where did he get that from? But, I mean, again, it's Jeff. I mean, he's pretty good. He doesn't just sit there and print stuff just to print it, I don't think. But it's interesting. And then there's the Milwaukee Brewers. They're just sitting there licking their chops again, and they probably think that they've got a shot to win this division based on the system that they've implemented. I think it's admirable. And the other one, Bernie, if you could comment on the Cubs, because I've always believed that the Cubs, what's wrong with them? They're a major market. I mean, let's go. If you're a Cubs fan, I want my team to throw down and take this division over.
Their financial firepower, their financial war chest, their revenue, their incredible amount of revenue that they've developed in part by building an entire entertainment district around Wrigley Field. The Cubs could do what the Dodgers do. They could do what the Mets do. They could do what the Phillies and some other teams do, like Toronto, a top 5 payroll. The Cubs could do anything they want. They could go get any player they want. They could sign anybody that they want, but they don't do it. Their ownership will go only so far. And then we'll draw the line, and that's that. I mean, Jed Hoyer, with that team desperate for starting pitching, he couldn't even go out and get one of the better starting pitchers available on the trade market because they didn't want to add the salary. And they gave up. They gave up a lot for Kyle Tucker, and it seems like for nothing more than a one and done.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll sign elsewhere. And so it's like, what exactly are they striving for? See, the Cubs always leave that door open for the Brewers, and by theory, the Cardinals and even the other teams, because they are a big powerhouse giant of a franchise that does not flex its financial muscles. And I tell you what, if I were a Cubs fan, I think I'd be more ticked off about that than if I were, say, a Cardinals fan where you've watched the team go south and now they have to take some time to rebuild it. I think I'd be more furious at the Cubs myself.
I got a lot of friends who are Cubs fans, and they are exactly that, because they know that team has financial resources to swim in the same waters with New York and with Los Angeles, and they just absolutely refuse to do it. In fact, I think it was Hoyer who just a couple of weeks ago basically said, "Hey, we think our offense is fine." They think their lineup is fine. Unless something changes or something presents itself, or they were, it's a red herring. They are operating as if they don't need to touch their lineup. And if you're them, why? And it is an amazing, just like we're talking about the Reds, the Cubs on the higher end are opening the door for the Cardinals to be a player every year because they don't step on the throat. They don't spend the money the way they could spend the money if they wanted to. They simply refuse. That could change, but it just hasn't been true to date, which again means for the Cardinals, that door is open.
Now, let me ask Bernie this about the Cardinals' financial situation. Their fans believe that Bill DeWitt should be spending and that this ownership should have been increasing payroll. They think that the Cardinals, while they are right now in a redevelopment, a rebuild, everybody gets that. They're still big critics. I mean, these are kind of silly right here, but that it's an ownership group that does not want to write the big check. Is that proven, Bernie? And where do they sit right now in terms of their financial situation?
Well, first of all, they've been writing a lot of big checks. As recently as 2021, they were number 10 in payroll. Where did that get them? It got them to a National League wildcard game, and they got bounced in one game. They went out and acquired Paul Goldschmidt and then gave him a big contract. They went out and got Nolan Arenado and inherited his massive contract. They went out recently, gave Sonny Gray $75 million. What astonishes me every time I hear something like this, it's absolutely astonishing, is before, and this isn't to kick John Mozeliak when he's out, but I've never understood the demands and the screeching of Cardinals fans who wanted John Mozeliak to spend more money and probably waste a lot of that money on bad contracts. What in the world do you gain from that? Now, they're into a rebuild. I think it's going to be a moderate rebuild. It's not going to be a tear down. You're going to lose 100 games for 3 years rebuild. You're going to have a smarter front office now. And I think there will come a time really, really soon when it'll be time to go out and spend. And I'll be the one pushing for it like a lot of people. But that's not, you don't. This idea that payroll is the only reason why you win or lose is just utterly insane because it's simply not true.
And the ownership group, which you hear a lot of people saying, he should sell the team and they should change it up. Folks, this is a guy whose whole life has been baseball. I mean, you can forget about it. Now, could at some point there be different people investing in the team at some point down the road? I have no idea. But Bill DeWitt Jr. is the owner of the team. He's the chairman of the team. There are a lot of people involved, by the way, but he basically calls the shots. And the Cardinals, Bernie, might we remind people, again, I'm not defending everything that he's ever done, but I would say that
To show they're tougher than the next person.
Bernie, what you're talking about, a message coming into the text line 314-436-7900. How can we talk crap about the Reds when our largest free agent
sets in that both of them at the same time after their 22 MVP campaign tanked offensively. Neither of them were even close to what they had been and started to fall off. Whose fault is that? At some point, it's on the player. And, nobody saw that coming, that it would happen at the exact same time. I know that we're getting a lot of comments, by the way, that our video stream is down. It has been. The internet's a little shaky this morning or this afternoon. It's been down. We're losing audio from a lot of people on our viewership, and we are sorry about that and apologize for the inconvenience. In the meantime, tune into KMOX. We are on KMOX radio, so you can listen to it 3 different ways: 104.1 FM, 1120 AM, and also on the Odyssey app, which is available all over the country. We'll take a quick break. World, although I was in Europe and I couldn't get it.
What do you mean you couldn't get it?
Couldn't get it. It said not available. I'm telling you, that was when I was there. I would never lie to you.
Tom, okay? I need proof.
I'll show you the email I sent. It was last summer. All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Why is he questioning me? I mean, what am I going to lie on the air? It's the Gashouse Gang. It's sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling. SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Now you're getting me fired up.
Good.
A Daikin dealer. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Genesis of St. Charles is the best car dealership I have walked into. I think it's fantastic. It's like walking into the lobby of a spa, but they sell cars. They have what they call a Zen garden. You can walk through and enjoy a little peaceful walk. They have a contemplation room. I told you, it's like a spa. Genesis puts all this thought and the resources behind it. They think that a nice, calming, luxurious experience is going to be more pleasant for you when you talk about the pressures of buying a car and all that stuff. When you go to Genesis, you're having a good time. GenesisofStCharles.com, you can really have a good time when you unlock the E-Price. And this is their signature event at Genesis. They accept more for your trade when you buy a brand new Genesis, and these Genesis vehicles are super, super nice and at a great value too. Luxurious vehicles deserve luxurious service, and that's exactly what you'll get at Genesis of St. Charles. They're the only Genesis dealership in the state of Missouri, the first standalone Genesis dealership in the state. It is Genesis of St. Charles, 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway. That's right off Mid-Rivers Mall Drive and I-70. GenesisofStCharles.com.
Purina presents A Century of Service.
This is KMOX Radio.
KMOX is celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining St. Louis. On November 20th, KMOX Day, we will celebrate the KMOX pioneers.
This is Jim White for your information.
Legendary voices.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Groundbreaking programming.
KMOX Radio. We're at your service.
And unforgettable moments that have defined a century of broadcasting.
We did locate Ben this afternoon, and we've also located Sean Harnbeck.
Hear from current and former KMOX personalities who have helped make this station the preeminent news, information, and sports brand in America.
Oh, yeah! Just send us in the game number 2.
A century of service, celebrating 100 years of KMOX, is presented by Purina, your pet, our passion, on the voice of St. Louis. KMOX,
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Want to build income without a second job? Learn how real estate investing can help you create extra income one step at a time with Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Hello, Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe. Congratulations, KMOX, on your 100th anniversary. We're so excited that you've continued to be an important fabric and part of the St. Louis area.
The Gashouse Gang on KMOX with Chris Ranji and Bernie Miklas. I'm Tom Ackerman. Jim Wilson says that our audio is back. He loves the show. You know what, Jim? We love you. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for joining. He says that we bring up a good point about the Cubs and the fact that their ownership won't financially compete. How many championships or at least division titles in the NL Central have they left on the table? That's hard to quantify, but the Cardinals gobbled up a lot of those, and so did the Brewers. The Cardinals back in the day and the Brewers most recently. Bernie, when do you think Chaim Bloom here? It sounds like everything's on the table. I mean, they're not going to go get Kyle Tucker, but as he told me on Sunday, pitching is the priority, but he said these words, it doesn't mean that we wouldn't try to add a core player on the offensive side of the ball, is how he phrased it. But that doesn't mean they're going to throw down 9 figures for somebody, but they have that in their sights too. When do you think they realistically start to make those moves?
I think Chaim Bloom's in an interesting situation because I think the pressure is on to an extent, even though it's going to be a moderate rebuild. People are going to expect to see, improvement gradually, and then all of a sudden it'll take a big step up. So he's going to have to sort of make that come true. And the other thing is he was stung on after the Red Sox scapegoated him. He was stunned and hurt by the criticism, kind of leaked to national media that he was indecisive. He had chances to make trades, but he couldn't pull the trigger. He was wishy-washy. He hesitated. He's this, he's that. And the only reason I'm bringing this up, Tom, and I apologize for the long answer, it plays into the question, which is, I think Chaim Bloom learned a lot from Boston, and I think he came to St. Louis much more prepared for the second chance of running a baseball team. I believe that's really good for the Cardinals because I think he will be aggressive. Now, to your point, are the Cardinals going to be like, oh my gosh, the Cardinals have just signed Kyle Tucker? No. Because we're all sane, okay, and we're not on drugs. But I wouldn't rule out a surprise move. Don't ask me to quantify a surprise move. I wouldn't move out a trade that makes people go, whoa, where maybe they get a young starting pitcher that's got real talent and he's under contract control for a while. I wouldn't rule something like that out. And I wouldn't rule out them finding a bat that can help them.
And here's another element, Bernie. He is now in a situation where I don't envision ownership is going to be as meddling as they were in his situation in Boston.
Right. Amen. Yep.
Yeah. So that's an important aspect to this because he doesn't make that Mookie Betts deal without ownership.
Telling him to.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So, no, you're exactly right. And I think that there is something to be said for that. And the fact that, he lays it all out there like, Burn, when Mozeliak used to drop those little nuggets about chasing a bat, chasing a right-handed bat. He wasn't lying. I mean, he dropped little hints when he was on Nolan Arenado's trail. He never said the name. He dropped little hints when Albert Pujols was still out there, and I had mentioned to him, you need a left-handed DH bat, and he goes, maybe from the right side. Who knows? And I was like, I turned to our producer and break. I go, oh my God, he's going after Pujols. You could just hear it. So I believe Bloom when he says that. And that doesn't mean I'm going to be disappointed if they don't land a core piece, but I think priority for me is power. You don't need to go find, you don't need to hit the ball out of the ballpark with everybody. You got to have somebody, though, that with one swing of the bat can change a game.
Tom, I used, when you asked him that excellent question, I used his response in a column I wrote yesterday at STL Sports Central about their glaring need for power. And the interesting thing that he said, and he's right, he says, look, you can't just go swing for the fences. I'm paraphrasing to shorten it up. You've got to get the counts in your favor. You can't have a lot of, swing and miss and strikeouts. You have to put the ball in play. You have to have a high contact rate. The interesting thing about that is the Cardinals actually did those things really, really well, much better than people think. Last year, sorry. They had the third highest contact rate in the majors on strikes. They had the sixth highest contact rate in the majors on all pitches, right? They had the 11th lowest strikeout rate. They had a really low swing and miss rate. They were a really good contact team. So not to contradict Chaim Bloom because his basic principle is correct, but the Cardinals did all of those things, and I even researched when they got ahead in counts. But you know what happened despite all that stuff? They didn't have power. They didn't hit home runs. Even when they got all those advantages that Chaim Bloom says you need to have to where you get your pitch, then you hit home runs. It's true, but the Cardinals did all that to their credit. At the end of the day, terrible power, big time shortage of power. And that's got to change. That has got to change.
And we're going to live with added strikeouts once they get guys with power. And that's just the natural, that's what happens. But you're right. They've got to have some game-changing bats in the lineup, and they just didn't have that.
When we come back, we're going to identify who some of those bats could be. But I think the bigger question is, who are the Cardinals going to trade as they look to rearrange this roster? Let's kind of rip through the positions, look at any redundancy. Although, as Bloom said, sometimes you do need a little bit of extra at some position. It'll be interesting to see where they go. They aren't going to block anybody. He made that very clear. We'll look through it. Trade market is here. Free agent market is here. If you're a Cardinals fan and you like this kind of thing, roster building, I think you might have the right guy to do it. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with more. It is the Gashouse Gang on KMOX. Tell us about FanDuel.
Oh, let me tell you something, Tom, and all of you in Missouri. The wait is almost over. We're talking less than 2 weeks from now. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, is going live in the state of Missouri. You do not have to wait until then to sign up, however, because if you join today, you can get started with $400 in bonus bets when you make your first $5 bet. From live betting to same-game parlays, FanDuel's the best place to bet on all your favorite teams, sports, and players. December 1st, less than 2 weeks away, you will be able to get in on the action right here in Missouri. FanDuel.com/Missouri. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri to get the app now. Play your game with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. 21 or over and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Early sign-up $100 offer. Bonus bets expire 30 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Missouri. Unique user identity verification required. Post-launch $300 offer. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
Hey guys, Dave Glover here from the Dave Glover Show. So, what is my show? My show is 4 different people living 4 different lives, all coming together every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. to talk about life, actual life, not so much headlines or did you see what Trump did today or XYZ. talk about from one segment to the next. So it truly is unique and unpredictable. Join us.
104.1 FM KMOX. Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
66 degrees and cloudy in St. Louis. We are going to get to a high of 70.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
Looks like autumn has arrived, and all fall long, a Metro Transit Day Pass is still just $5, which makes you just one click away from your one-day mental health fall getaway. Plan your trip at metrostlouis.org.
Welcome to Coffee House. How are you today?
Hi, great, thanks. May I get a sea salt caramel latte with almond milk, extra caramel, extra shot, iced,
Gross.
and to go, please. Did you get all that?
No, I was just ringing you up for all the extras. Can you repeat your order, please?
Oh, never mind. I'm just gonna go.
Stop paying extra for extras. Get fancy coffee without the fancy coffee price at Quick Trip. Raise your coffee bar.
Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country, but Congressman Jason Smith is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. So call Congressman Jason Smith at 202-225-4404 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Rochelle talks about her experience with 3-day kitchen and bath.
It was a wonderful experience. I had heard about them on the radio. They come out to your house. They let you know what they do. They let you pick out your features, your colors, and then they come into your home the morning they start. They walk you through, this is what's going to happen, and you leave for a few days, and you come home, and it's done.
Was it easy?
It made it easy because you're not in the middle of a mess for 2 or 3 months. Left on a Tuesday morning, and it was done on a Thursday night. We came home Friday morning early because we were so excited.
What was your reaction when you first saw it?
Wow.
It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-day kitchen and bath.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every moment with our patients is a gift. Thanks to supporters like you, children have hope as they fight serious illness and reach incredible milestones. Please donate today at treeofhope.org.
Get ready for Thursday Night Football as the Bills face the Texans.
Sankman Cancer Center game time 6:30. Sankman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer.
The Bills, the Texans, on America's Sports Voice, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Well, thanks to the folks at Backstoppers, we have a couple of tickets to give away for Guns and Hoses, which is coming up on November 26th. At Enterprise Center. And right now on this show, we are giving away a pair of those tickets to caller number 6 to the contest line at 314-955-1120. That is 955-1120. You must have a valid email address in order to get those tickets.
We're going to have a good time with that. I'll be joined in the booth by Chris Pronger and former professional fighter Jesse Finney, Jasmine Huda on the floor doing interviews, and Julie Tristan, our ringside reporter on Fox 2. And I fully expect to get a text from Bernie Miklasz that says, you are going bananas right now.
You're always going bananas. Always. It never ends.
The night before Thanksgiving, you just can't get rid of me. Play-by-play of boxing on Fox 2 and for a great cause. Bernie, when you look at the market right now, let's talk about power hitters for a minute, and then we'll circle back to pitching. But, you know, we mentioned 2 really good players there in Kyle Schwarber and Kyle Tucker. I mean, you can forget about that. No Kyles. Maybe some Kyles, but not those Kyles. But, you know, if you look at some of the bigger names out there, I still think they're out of the Cardinals league. Trent Grisham, you know, here's a guy who hit 34 bombs last year. He's an outfielder. The Cardinal killer, Eugenio Suarez, but he's a third baseman. I mean, you're not going to do that. You've already got the third baseman coming, possibly in Weatherhold. You got Gorman already. I mean, you start going down the line. There are possibilities there. Do you find yourself looking at a more established guy in his mid-30s who maybe wants a year or two? Or are you trying to swing a deal for an up-and-comer?
I would try to find a deal for an up-and-comer. I've used this example a lot. The Marlins' new management team, they went out and got near the end of 24. They went out and got Kyle Stowers from the Orioles, who was like a fourth outfielder, and they plugged him in. And last year, even though he got some injuries, he had 25 home runs and slugged over 500. And they gave up a reasonable price for him, and they cashed in a big way. I think Chaim Bloom's capable of making that kind of deal. I can't identify a particular target. I'd stay away from aging sluggers. Pete Alonso, I don't know what he's going to get from the Mets, but Pete Alonso's not a young guy. And you have to work the Busch Stadium factor into this. It's not a home run yard. It's not a home run yard that home run hitters, they're going to look at it and say, well, I don't know about that place. Like Trent Grisham, he'd never really done anything. You put him in Yankee Stadium, and Chris Ranji could hit 20, 23 home runs.
Hell yeah.
So I'm not like Trent Grisham is fool's gold, in my opinion.
I agree.
So I don't know what they do unless he can find a guy that's either early in the major leagues or close to the major league that's got a power bat, but another team's desperate for Sonny Gray, or they're desperate for Brendan Donovan, hypothetically, or Lars Nootbaar, and then they would make a trade. They have enough power in their organization. They would give up a young power hitter who was in their organization. But I got to say, too, and if you don't mind, the Cardinals actually have some people internally that eventually should be those guys. I think, you give Ivan Herrera a full season, he would hit you 30 bombs. You look at Joshua Baez, the kid that was at AA. Baseball America has moved him way, way up in the prospect rankings. And they wrote last week that he projects as a 30 home run, 30 steal guy in the major leagues. You look at Raniel Rodriguez, this 18-year-old catcher they have, number 3 prospect on the Cardinals' top 10 list from Baseball America. And if you read their scouting report on him, you would go, wow. And I know what people will say. Well, we've heard that before. Yeah, you have, except now, and this is where it comes back into prominence. Now you have a player development system that can actually make these players better than they are on their way to the majors. You know who a great example of that is? Joshua Baez. Chaim Bloom's, Rob Cerfolio, they put 2 parts of their player development system on Joshua Baez. They put the physical performance people, and they put the player development people. There was 2 staffs working together. This kid could not stop striking out. His plate discipline was horrendous. Those 2 teams working together fixed him. And last year, he had a great year, and his strikeout rate was only like 20%. They transformed him, given him the kind of teaching and instruction that, frankly, has not been taking place in the St. Louis farm system. That's an example of why the Cardinals are doing this. People say, well, he could be Nolan Gorman. Well, anybody could be anybody. My point is, I can only wonder what would have happened with Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman had they received instruction of this magnitude while they were still developing in the minors.
Is it over for those 2, or do they have a chance to receive that instruction now? We're talking about Gorman's a guy who hit 27 bombs when he was 23 years old. Right.
It's not too late, because Walker's 23 and Gorman's still 25. I think he'll be 26. But, the idea that Chaim Bloom would trade either one of these guys before Chaim Bloom, as the boss, has a chance to make the decisions, to do what he's got to do to get his teams in a position to make these guys better, at least give them a chance to fix these guys. Why would anyone want to give up on them when you have a whole new regime that has already shown it can make players better? Why would you give up on the possibility that the new regime could do that with these 2 guys?
Well, here's another wrinkle to that too, is that Gorman, I don't think this is any news or anything, but Jeff Passan did his offseason primer and talking about who would be potentially traded away from the Cardinals. And it's the same names that you've already thought of: Arenado, Contreras, potentially Brendan Donovan, his name. And he's got Nolan Gorman on that list. What I'm curious about with Gorman, Nobody has to give up much of anything to get Nolan Gorman on his own. He could be part of a package or something like that, I envision. But I am curious to know what other teams think of him, like what they truly deep down think of him. And there's a difference between what his value on the trade market is and what his realistic secret value is with the team, like what they actually think they can get out of him. I'd be really curious to know how other teams view him.
I think I'll give you a quick and general answer. That's why the Cardinals won't trade him in a way where you're basically giving him away, because they think he has potential value that is much, much higher than what his trade value would be now. His potential value after the Cardinals and the new regime have a chance to work on him. They're not going to foreclose on that and sell him cheap when this is an organization that has an absolutely pathetic low level of power. They can't be just giving away power hitters.
Let's do pitchers next segment, but this final part of this segment, let's do what I asked, which was to rip through the positions. I probably should do that. So first base right now, you have Wilson Contreras. Alec Burleson is backing you up. You have Blaze Jordan down the road trying to work his way into the mix. What other first base candidates do you see, and would anybody be dealt out of that group?
I mean, I've always wondered whether Ivan Herrera would end up eventually at first base, but that's a different type of answer.
Yeah. Second base, it's Weatherholt on the way, unless he's playing third. Brendan Donovan's still a Cardinal, and you've got some other possibilities there that you could throw in there, but those are your guys. And at third base, it's Gorman or Weatherholt, unless Arenado somehow would stay. I think at shortstop, we know who that is. It's Mason Wynn, and your outfield is anybody's guess. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I'm assuming that Vic is going to be back in the mix, Bernie, but in the outfield right now, Lars Nootbaar needs to be healthy. Hopefully he can be that. Jordan Walker's in right field. But your outfield does need a bit of a boost, doesn't it?
Burleson's got to be
He's
your
got to be
starter
out there.
He had an underrated season. It was a good season. It's a lot better than people think. He'll be out there and he'll play some first base. I think they got to stick with Victor Scott. I think it's a really big year for him to show that he can get some things done offensively. I think Jordan Walker will, be given every opportunity to play right field. And once again, this includes getting the kind of help he needs to turn the corner. Joshua Baez could be in St. Louis by the All-Star break. He'll start out at AAA this year, so that they'll be funneling some younger guys up to the majors. So, and a key there too is whether they trade Nootbaar this winter or he's with them at the beginning of the season. Maybe they trade him at the deadline. So he's a wild card factor.
And finally, guys, at catcher, I think that's the interesting one is they do not want to block Bernal. And not to mention they have some others that were already talked about that are on the way. That, to me, makes Pedro Pajes a pretty attractive trade candidate. I think anybody would want to have a dude like that behind the plate, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. And by the way, there was a great piece written by Will Carroll, the injury expert who does a Substack, and he looked at catchers, and he looked at the idea that, catchers, they got to be sturdy. They got to be built for punishment. You got to play him though. He used Will Smith as an example, and he's saying it's changing in baseball because teams are now looking at, well, wait a minute. If a catcher can hit, why would we want to basically punish him and wear him down physically to the point where we can't take advantage of the offense he produces because he's hurt, or we have to rest him all the time? So there's a changing shift. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think it applies to Ivan Herrera, this idea that he's going to catch. He doesn't have to catch 120 games. He can catch 80 games. He can catch 70 games and be a DH the other times. And then Jimmy Crooks can be the defense first catcher. So we got to get away. See, like Yadier Molina doesn't exist anymore, and there aren't going to be any Yadier Molinas who exist who want to play 145 games. That time in baseball is over. I think teams are going to be taking care of catchers so they can keep their bat in the lineup.
That's Bernie Miklasz with Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman. We'll take a break, but first, Bernie, we want to hear about Saliga Heating and Cooling.
It's Saliga time. We've been a Saliga client for the last 17, going on 18 years. So I think I have the credibility to speak about them, because before I started talking about them on the radio, I was just a nervous homeowner. It's like, what do I do? The house is cold. It's not work. The heat's not working. What do I do? And someone told me to call Saliga Heating and Cooling, and the rest is history. Listen, I shouldn't have been surprised. This Daikin Comfort dealer has been taking care of St. Louis families since 1927. What I can tell you is that they're honest. You can count on their integrity 100%. They're professional when they come into your home. They're classy. They are reliable in terms of when they say they're going to show up, and their knowledge is just immense. The other thing, never have once tried to sell us something more expensive or upsell us or tell us we need something that we don't need. They go the other way and look for the least expensive solutions first. That's the integrity that I'm speaking about. So if you need anything at all and you're not sure who to call, go with the track record. 100 years, the same family, 100 years, the Saligas have been taking care of other St. Louis families. That means a lot. And if you want more information, especially about their maintenance plan, the Priority Club, which will save you money, just go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
For 100 years, KMOX has been part of St. Louis. Now, Together Credit Union is helping celebrate that legacy. Starting in November, visit any Together Credit Union branch to pick up a KMOX 100th anniversary commemorative ornament for just $5 while supplies last. Each ornament supports Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis. Together Credit Union, honoring 100 years of KMOX, the voice of St. Louis, and Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis, improving the health of all children.
This holiday season, the Dave Glover Show is excited to partner with Hardee's and Operation Food Search for the Holiday Food Drive. While supplies last, stop by any metro area Hardee's and make a donation of at least $1 to benefit Operation Food Search and receive a limited edition DGS holiday sticker. All donations will benefit Operation Food Search to help children and families facing food insecurities. Get all the details about the campaign or to make an online donation, head to KMOX.com/events.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Are you tired of online threats? Then get an antivirus. It's the only online protection you will ever need.
Disclaimer: an antivirus is just half protection online. It will not protect you from snoopers or encrypt your online traffic. So this Black Friday, get better online protection with NordVPN. NordVPN will encrypt your traffic, protect you from malware and phishing, and stop annoying ads. Get the NordVPN Black Friday deal with 73% off and enjoy 3 extra months.
Hi, Debbie Monterey here with Gloria Liu, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. We've worked together for more than 5 years, and I've learned a lot about you and your business. Today, I actually found out a few things I didn't know, like your home sales stats. Compared to the average agent who sells less than 4 to 6 homes a year, you actually sell a home just about every other day. And even more impressive, your business has been built on giving back to our local community, including supporting St. Louis Children's Hospital.
Thank you. Every business should have a Go Serve Big initiative. When someone makes a referral, they're helping our communities, including St. Louis Children's Hospital, which is very special to me and my family because they helped me when I had my son many years ago. Today, sellers want to sell with certainty in this uncertain market. My upfront written guarantees are my secret to selling your home fast and for top dollar.
Friends, the secret is out. Call Gloria now at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Congratulations, Susan from O'Fallon, Missouri. Going to go see Guns and Hoses November 26th at Enterprise. Gave away. Well, back us to give away. And don't worry, we'll be giving away tickets all week if you missed out today.
Awesome. Come down and see us at ice level or ringside level, whatever it is, and say hi. This is going to be absolutely awesome at Enterprise Center next Wednesday night with Bernie Miklas and Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman, Gashouse Gang. All right, let's see. I mean, obviously you want to add relievers if you can, but I think the big thing everyone's talking about is this rotation. We talked about it last week a little bit. I've changed my tune on this a little bit. Liberatore is in ink. He's not going further than 5 innings, but this is coming off some relief for him. He was a reliever. I think that's a really good effort when you crunch the numbers. Bernie's run through the numbers for us, but also they just love him. I mean, Liberatore is so happy. He thinks that his style of pitching, his delivery is conducive to pitching until he's later in years. He feels strong. It's just, being in sync after being a reliever for so long, learning how to make now. He wants to get to those 30 starts. I think he's going to be a big part of the rotation along with Michael McGreevy. Palante, I'm not so sure about. Gray, I'm not so sure he's going to be here. Leahy, I like. So that leaves, I think Leahy can get in there, Bernie, but that leaves definitely 2 spots in the rotation. So when you're looking in this offseason, what is your ideal situation here if you're the Cardinals? What are you trying to do?
Well, I do everything to make sure Kyle Leahy earns a spot in the rotation because the guy's really good. StatCast has got a thing called pitching run value, and it's actually not as complicated as it seems. It's just basically rating how good your pitches are. He was in the top 14% of all major league pitchers in pitching run value. And he was better than his pitching run value was higher than Sonny Gray, Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, Dylan Cease, Verlander, Framber Valdez. I mean, on and on and on. And he throws 6 pitches. When you have a starting pitcher, you want him to be able to throw a variety of pitches. He throws 6 pitches, 5 of them are above average, and the one that is below average is just by a hair, and he didn't even throw it that much. That's the changeup. When a guy has stuff that good, he's got to be in your rotation. He's got to at least be given the chance to prove he belongs in that rotation. His stuff is good. It's not just like, well, he did a nice job as a reliever. His stuff's really good.
And he's got at least 2 spots, maybe 3, right? Since you've got so many holes in the rotation, and if Sonny Gray is gone, you got a lot to do there. I don't see how you don't give him an opportunity, and Liberatore is not right back in next season.
But I think Chaim Bloom is going to find a starter or 2 for depth. So we got to factor that in. Just the expectation that he will be bringing some people in here to help.
We went heavy on hockey, basketball, and football yesterday. I told you we were going to talk some baseball. I was some big-time baseball talk from Bernie Miklas right there. Bernie's returning today on the rush hour because Kevin Wheeler has the day off.
Yeah.
So thanks for doing that, Bern. Double duty for you. He'll be with Matt Pauley at 5 o'clock. For Bernie, for Chris, for Matt, for Frank, for John, everybody. It's the Gashouse Gang. I'm Tom Ackerman. We'll see you tomorrow. Dave Glover's next.